Here's something your real estate agent can't tell you. What is considered a safe neighborhood? Real estate agents are bound by law to be fair and indiscriminate under the Fair Housing Act. That means they can tell you to look at a trending crime map, but they can't tell you if a neighborhood is good or not. And unless you know how to read one of those crime maps, you might as well be trying to read Egyptian hieroglyphics. Picking a safe place to live can be very concerning, especially if the only homicide in your town is whenever Bubba shot the jukebox. You end up moving into the murder capital of the world if you don't do your research. Or worse, California. Alright, easy now, Golden Plate. I can hear the comments now. Don't get me wrong. Okay, the climate in California is great, but the laws, well, let's just say I'd rather take my chances in Cuba. Now, what was I saying? Right. Safe area of town. Follow me. So, here's some tips on how to tell if you either live in or are moving to a generally bad area. Keep in mind, these are not exclusive signs, just kind of general guidelines that I've seen over my time and experience. So even if you already live in a good neighborhood, just remember it only takes one person with bad intentions to make a good neighborhood a bad one. I digress. If you see 2 or more of these red flags, you can probably assume that the floor is going to act as your next dinner table. I don't say this one very often, but
don't trust the police, no justice, no peace.
Seriously though, sometimes it's okay to ask, but it's better off just not opening that can of worms. See, they see the worst that neighborhood has to offer, and they've probably got a jaded attitude about it. It's not exactly an unbiased opinion if you ask me. First on the list, do local businesses or residences have bars on their windows? Go ahead and get some extended insurance coverage if you plan on moving there, because your shit is about to get plundered and then probably pawned for Percocets. Number 2, does it seem like every house on the block has broken window blinds? This can indicate a few different things, but I'm not going to go over every single one of them. Just assume that your neighbors are trying to act like Gladys from Bewitched, trying to get a front row seat to America's Most Wanted. Does the entire neighborhood have a chain link fence in the front yard? Well, something has a history of running through those front yards, and it's probably best just to leave that to the imagination. A good sign, however, is if there are getting kids' toys left out in the front yard. I don't recommend that at all, by any means, but that means that neighborhood doesn't have a whole lot of experience with theft. Now, what if you're on the higher end area of town? Well, you're not going to see so many kids' toys left out as much as you might see adult toys. Y'all need Jesus. What I'm talking about is sprinklers in the summertime, motorcycles, boats, shit like that, swear. Alright, so I picked out a couple different crime maps because, like I said, it's kind of like reading Egyptian hieroglyphics, but right here is where you can find probably the easiest one to read. There's only really 2 good ways to do this. One is using your zip code, and it doesn't really give you that accurate of a description. The next thing that you can do is you can set it to have like a 300-yard radius around a house that you're supposed to be looking at. Don't just check that specific area of town. Check surrounding areas of the same town or surrounding areas of the same city, whatever. You get the idea. Just remember that population has a major impact on crime trends. Just keep in mind, at the end of the day, I don't want you to get swindled because you saw a house at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday and thought that it was nice because the criminals hadn't woken up yet. If you'd like, feel free to check out my link in my profile. I have a lot of home security stuff in there that I recommend.